Many ball python breeders dream of one day vending the Tinley Park NARBC, and this last weekend, Courtney and I had the opportunity to do just that. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. In fact, there were some harsh lessons that Courtney and I took while we were vending our very first Super Bowl of the reptile hobby. So, for this week's video, we are going to go over those lessons. We are going to be showing off some of the amazing animals that other people brought to the show, and we are going to answer the question, is it worth it to vend Tinley Park NARBC if you are a new ball python breeder? Anyways, my name's Steven with Leviathan, and let's get to it.
Hey, it's Andre from Chimera. We're at Tinley Park right now. This is a spot-nosed jaguar clown. Really cool. Contrasting between like a reducing gene and then the spot nose, obviously making the pattern crazy.
Very first lesson is that time is a limited resource and it is so scarce at the Tinley Park NARBC. So for Courtney and I, we had a 16-hour drive in order to get to the show because one, we had to go down through Atlanta rather than through Asheville due to the damage that Hurricane Helene had wrought on the highway, specifically I-40 through Asheville to Knoxville. So that added on extra time, and we also had to drop off our daughter at my parents' house in order for them to watch her during the show, and that actually added on about an extra 2-ish hours onto the drive. So overall, what we were used to being a 12-ish hour drive turned into a 16-hour drive one way. And on top of this, we only found out that we could vend Tinley Park NARBC on the Wednesday morning before the show. So we had about 40-ish 8 hours to actually get ready and travel all the way from South Carolina to Chicago, Illinois in order to vend the show. But we 1000% knew that we wanted to do it. Immediately, we started scrambling in order to make sure that we could either take off work or work from home so we could have enough time in order to prep all of the animals, make sure that we had everything, and get loaded up and headed out for the show. So what we ended up doing is after work on Wednesday, we spent the entire time until we went to bed getting ready for the show. And then on Thursday, I went into the office, and as soon as I got home, we finished a last little bit of things, and then we took off from South Carolina and drove the 16 hours through the night up to Tinley Park. We didn't get to the show until about 2 to 3 in the afternoon on Friday. And one of the big challenges of this, again, time is a factor in this situation, is that we are getting there as VIP is opening. So we are setting up and we are trying to get all of the banners up, we're trying to get the animals out, we're trying to get the displays ready, and we didn't have labels ready to go because normally we handwrite them. But for this show, we wanted to be a little bit more professional, and we bought a label maker and we were trying to type and print off all the labels. But this takes way longer than just handwriting the prices on these different animals. So we actually didn't finish pricing the animals until Saturday morning. So what this ended up doing was that while all of the VIPs were there on Friday and they were buying amazing, incredible animals, we weren't really able to take advantage of any of those customers because we didn't have our animals labeled, we didn't have our prices on them, and we weren't really able to give the customers undivided attention in order to try to make a sale because we were so frantic and we were so stressed about setting up. Going forward, what we realized is if we are going to vend Tinley Park NARBC, we absolutely cannot just leave after work on Thursday. We have to wake up early on Thursday and use Thursday as our entire travel day, so that way we can be ready to go in order to knock it out on Friday and really take advantage of the VIP hours.
Hey, this is Doug Nacker with Hasty Fit Reptiles, and here at Tinley Park, I'm actually helping Garrick out this weekend, and because I'm helping him out, he let me put my displays here. Out of all those here, I'm going to show you guys my favorite snake that I brought to the show. This is actually Calico DG, so Desert Ghost visual, and it's calico. So what's really cool about this is obviously it's nice and clean. The Desert Ghost, really cleans it up. And you have the obvious calico stuff, but a really cool thing is here, right along the belly area, it's really kind of that really cool oranges. And if you turn it, it's kind of got some really funkiness going on. Not really sure, there actually might possibly be yellow belly in her. Definitely no orange dream or anything, but it could also just be that's just how she looks as being just a calico Desert Ghost. So, but she's a nice little girl here. Had a few people interested in her. We'll see if she ends up going anywhere today. But if not, she'll be going back home with me, and she's up in Morph Market if you're interested. But she's really, really cool. I like the coloration on her. So it's really cool.
The second lesson came on Friday night at the hotel bar while we were talking to Steve Casino, and he was giving us advice on vending the show because there are so many people who come through the door at Tinley, it is impossible to talk to every single one of them. And his advice to us was that we should focus on the people who take an interest in our table, and we should greet everybody that comes up. And we should definitely let them know that we are there to support them if they need us, but we should focus our efforts on interesting, strong conversations with either other vendors or customers who come up and start talking about a specific gene. Because if we can show our expertise in a specific gene or give them advice, it's very likely that other people around will listen, and you might be able to make additional sales for that gene because you're able to really, really sell it to that specific person, and other people might get their interest piqued as well. This approach is really different than the way that we go about vending at local shows, because most local shows aren't dominated by other breeders. Instead, at most local shows, they are dominated by pet owners, and with the pet owners, we tend to focus on the personality and trying to find the right fit for a family, where at Tinley Park, a lot of the conversation really was centered around breeding.
What's up, everybody? KG, Bomb Projects, here with Leviathan, Steven, my man.
That's right,
The better half. Oh, I didn't say that, Courtney. I didn't mean it. No, we're here in Tinley. Just got lucky. Had a friend who had a booth and let us bring a couple snakes. So, show off the only showstopper I really brought.
Oh, shoot. All right, hold on. Let me adjust the settings real quick so that way we get her. There we go. Oh, she looks amazing. All right, you want to go ahead and talk about this combo?
This is a Calico Stranger Special Double Het Monsoon Pied.
Lesson number 3 that we learned at the show was that people will come up to your table looking for specific projects, looking for specific genes, looking for specific combos. And they will straight up ask you, do you have any monsoons? Or do you have any puzzle? Or do you have any sunset? Those tended to be the ones that people asked a lot, or at least what I noticed a lot. So with this, I think that it is somewhat of a harsh reality that the success that you might have at Tinley Park is probably being determined months before you ever get to the show, maybe even years before you ever get to the show, because it really does matter what genetics you have, and if you don't have the exact right thing that people are looking for, there are so many other amazing vendors there at the show that they are going to pass you on by, and it doesn't really matter because you just simply didn't have what they were looking for. In addition to this, while a lot of people did come up and ask about specific genes, if we either didn't have the gene or we didn't have the combo, or maybe we didn't have the sex of the specific gene that they were looking for, we always referred them to somebody else. So in addition, kind of like a twofer on this lesson, is if you can develop a reputation for a gene, it's much, much more likely that when people come up to one of these shows looking for that gene, you will have the other vendors recommending you because they know you work that that project. So I think that this is a little bit of a challenge, because if you are trying to be too diverse in order to have a little bit of everything, you might have one specific animal in a project that they're looking for, but you are not really going to be able to get the other vendors to recommend you to other customers, and that definitely helped us out in sales at Tinley.
Hey, I'm Garrick DeMeyer from Royal Constrictor Designs, and I want to show you my favorite snake that I brought to the NARBC Tinley Park fall of 2024. This is a banana genetic striped clown. Let's look at those amazing colors. I've been producing these for a couple of years now and I just absolutely love them. So of course I'm a perfectionist and always trying to advance projects, so I'm trying to figure out what I want to put in this to make it even better. I'm thinking red stripe, yellow belly or asphalt, maybe leopard. You know, there's always ways to make every morph better. So as cool as this one is, I'm going to be making nicer ones in the future.
The fourth lesson that we saw for a fact at Tinley is that brand and marketing power plays so much in the success of the people at the show. And a lot of times at reptile shows, I feel that brand doesn't matter as much because you are able to sell somebody in person, and if you have a good, strong sales personality, you will likely be able to convince somebody to buy from you if they're looking to get a pet versus just simply having the biggest name at a show. But at Tinley Park, having a strong brand, what it did is it created almost like gravitational pulls where specific booths in specific areas in the show drew a large crowd of people because they wanted to see the people that were vending there. So I think that areas, at least in the ball python world, that are notorious for this is the Canova booth in all of the aisles over there, because so many people want to go over and see what does Justin have at the show. And in addition to that, I feel that our level of marketing presence, our level of brand really helped us coming in, because a lot of people did specifically seek us out in order to talk to us. And a lot of our sales were made by people that we knew online, but they came and saw us in person at our booth, and then they found that we had an animal that they wanted to buy. And this doesn't mean that other people didn't have those same exact animals, or that other people may potentially have even had similar animals for a cheaper price. But because of our brand value and our marketing presence, it was able to draw people into us, and hopefully they wanted to support us specifically and help us make Tinley Park a successful show, at least for Leviathan.
Sure. Yeah, my name's Alex, and then my company's AGH Reptiles. Yeah, so this is a high OD YB Black Pastel Fire, Dinker Het Clown, which I believe is Scrambler.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, this boy is amazing. This is definitely something that we could only dream of hitting. We had no idea that we were going to hit this from the pairing that we did.
Orange, and I love that like perfect contrast between like the blushing and the pattern. They're all outlined with like, oh man, that snake looks incredible.
So, with all this said, this was only the second fall Tinley that I've ever been to. It was the very first Tinley that we ever vended, but we have been to several March Tinleys in the past. And with this, comparing it to all of the other things, I feel like that the flow through the show was really busy and really steady, but not quite as elbow to elbow and shoulder to shoulder as other shows that we've been to in the past, which honestly, as just being there, it made it a little bit of a more positive, more pleasant experience just simply being at the show. But even with the, I feel like, slightly lighter foot traffic at the actual show, we know a ton of people who absolutely crushed it. I'm not going to go into names and I'm not going to go into specific numbers, but I know of 2 breeders that broke $30,000 in sales. I know of 2 breeders who broke $20,000 in sales, and I know of 1 breeder who broke $10,000 in sales. Now, I can't say that this is true for everybody, because I do know of some people who didn't sell anything at the show. But overall, I feel that the people who didn't sell anything seem to be the exception rather than the rule, and most people had a really good show. So, For us, it actually was the best show that we have ever vended, period. Now, maybe this isn't fair because we predominantly vend local shows to us, with a couple bigger shows like the Southeast Reptile Expo, the All-American, and we have vended the NARBC St. Louis before. But easily, this Tinley, the Fall Tinley of 2024, was the best show in monetary value that we have ever had, and we are so excited about it. On top of the actual sales, there were so many people that we got to see, and there were so many people who came and saw us at our booth that there is a massive marketing value to being able to vend the Tinley Park NARBC. So overall, what I would say to answer the question is, as a newer ball python breeder, should you take the opportunity to vend Tinley if you have the chance? And I think that you should do it 100%. Even if you don't have the right animals in order to vend the show, simply being able to go there and set up and network, it can create a situation where people view you in a different lens, and it allows you to make connections that you wouldn't have been able to make otherwise, even if you don't do well at Tinley. That said, I do think that it is very, very possible for brand new people, ourselves included, to go to Tinley as a debut breeder and absolutely crush it. So I don't think that you have to count on going to Tinley as a new breeder and not doing well, but even if you don't sell a lot of animals, I think it is completely worth it. Anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you're not subscribed to the channel already, definitely hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe. And if you want to know the more in-depth, gritty numbers about what exactly we sold, how much they sold for, and all of that information, head over to the Patreon and sign up for a free trial, because we're going to be talking about it in this week's podcast episode. Anyways, again, we hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you next week.